Howdy folks, welcome back to another episode of RNP What Sold. This is for the week, or about a week and a half of mid-April. I did miss last week's episode, so sorry about that. If you do like these episodes, these shows, please check out our previous What Sold videos, and let's get right into it. First of all, I have a basic standard bread and butter Harley Davidson motorcycle. It says H-D performance shirts. Nothing fancy, sold for $14 shipped, and I had about $1 into this from my haul from the summer, that major clothing item. Next one's another clothing item. I want to only because it's not fancy, but I'm selling more and more of these. Pretty much they're not staying in stock. Patagonia Daily Capoline base layer long sleeve shirts. It's like a long sleeve t-shirt. Everyone knows the brand. This sold for $36.70, including tax and shipping. I had about $1 into this one from that clothing haul, is that Harley shirt that I just talked about. If you can get your hands on it, the nicer Patagonia stuff, pretty much all Patagonia stuff is most, the warmer the weather gets. Long sleeve, short sleeve, doesn't really matter. Pick it all up. If you can get it for $3 and under, sometimes even if you can get it for, depending on how good quality it is. All right, let's skip a couple of these because these are all boring clothing items. Another one is it is a semi-boring item, a tank top, but this is an unbranded USA American flag tank top. I had about 25 cents into this with a huge lot of tank top, I want to say 18 months ago. This one has no real brand. I don't even know. I've never heard of this. Soul Gyre is the brand. It's for $20.98. The closer it gets to July 4th, the more of this type of stuff you'll sell. Just the stars and stripes, nothing fancy, but it's going to move, especially, like I said, the closer it gets to July 4th. So pick it up if you can get it for less than $2, I would say. All right, let's see if we can get something that's not clothing. All right, next up I have, this is a set of 3 Tiki Mugs. I sell these from time to time. I generally don't find them very often. I know a lot of other people do, and I'm actually not that knowledgeable about them. These are accoutrements, vintage 2001, so just barely vintage. A set of 3, blue and green, cups, mugs, and they are just actually pretty basic. These are actually pretty standard. You find these all over the place. They get about $5 into these, and they sold $41.82, including tax and shipping. I had $4.99 into these, like I said, and these probably took about 3 months to sell, but with the warmer weather coming, tiki type stuff, which sells pretty well to begin with, it will sell even faster at this point. So look out for that stuff. I wish I found more of it because I definitely want to sell that stuff. All right, next up, my bread and butter, action figures, G.I. Joe. This is a 3 inch action figure, vintage, missing all the parts. So it's just, I believe it just had the helmet. This was an Action Air pilot, Air Force pilot. Sold for $60.19. I had this listed for a while for a lot higher. I ended up taking an offer for this one. We went back and forth a few times, but we settled on $6.19, including tax and shipping. I had about $1, maybe $1.50 into this one. But like I said, G.I. Joe vintage, and this is, I would say, circa 1993, it says here. Figures do really, really well for me. They're slow sell, but they kind of drip, and they sell every week for me, at least. So pick those up if you see them for under $3. All right, another tank top. This is a Nike Dry Fit tank top that I just picked up last week. Had a cool kind of skeleton figure on it. Sold for $21.53. I picked it up for $1.99. This kind of stuff, especially if it's dry fit like this one was, will sell, especially, like I said, for the spring, summer, fall. We're in California, so this kind of stuff moves fast for me. All right, let's move to some non-clothing again if we can. This was an interlinear Bible, Hebrew, Greek, English hardcover. It's actually 1 volume carrying edition. I picked this up for $14.99. I was debating whether I should have picked it up because on this one, they had just put it out at the local Goodwill, and it sold for $68.38, including tax. It was in really good shape. It looked like it barely been opened, but like I said, I was hoping to try and get it discounted. It was $14.99, and they would not give me anything off. They said if I came in the next day and showed my driver's license, if I was a senior, and I can get that. And I was semi-insulted because I'm not a senior yet. So, but anyways, I didn't wait. I just picked it up, and happy to see it sell for $68.38 for $14.99 pickup. All right, this is another T-shirt, but I wanted to highlight this type of T-shirt. I don't know where Ludington, Michigan is, but I do like these kind of cartoonish caricature T-shirts. This one was from 1991. Had this for about 6 months. Had about 99 cents into this one. Sold for $38.59. And I definitely was looking for the very specific buyer when you're talking about a specific city and a specific state here. But because of its vintage caricature type graphics on the front of it, this one sold. I mean, it took longer than expected, but this one sold for what I wanted at least. $38.59 for 99 cents. I'm happy with that. So if you see these caricature type shirts, a lot of them are like in NBA and NFL from the 80s and the 90s. Pick those up. I've even sold one. It might have been in a What Sold video. It was a Warriors 2016 caricature shirt. Sold for $50. So you see that big head, tiny body, cartoony type thing. Pick it up. It will go. All right, let's move away from the clothing. I'm desperately trying to move away from the clothing. Okay, this is a vintage, it says shotgun sling. It basically looked like a piece of leather. I think one of these was in my past What Sold videos too. I picked up a couple of these. This is the last one that I have. This one sold for $39.30. This one, I believe I had $5 into this. So $39.30. Had it for about 2 months, I believe. The last one sold maybe about a month ago, and it was still in the packaging. It looked new, couldn't really tell. There was a staple in it, I believe, but it sold pretty fast, and it weighed next to nothing. So it went first class. It was like 4 ounces maybe. All right, this next item is a figure that I've had for a while. It was a Harley Quinn jester clown. The head was porcelain. It looked like it was from the 80s, maybe the 70s. And it was on a stand, and it sold for $32.58. I had $3.99 into this one, and it sat for a while. I think I had this for over a year. I'm not sure why I picked it up. It just kind of looked cool, and I had to package it really well to ship this thing out. Kind of an awkward size, about 16 inches by 4 by 4. But happy to see it go. $32.58 out the door. All right, another clothing item, but there is a reason behind this one. This is a kind of a generic, but it's the logo on the front, not the logo, the picture on the front. Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G. For anyone knows 90s rap. This one sold for $28.33. I had this one sitting for like a year, but because of the warmer weather, because it's circa 1990s, even though this is a repro, it was not an original 1990s shirt. It sold, and I'm seeing more and more, like I said, like tank tops, t-shirts selling, especially if they got something cool, like a cool Stars and Stripes Biggie Smalls on the front of them. So $28.33 out the door. Happy with that one. All right, let's skip some of these shirts. We're bored of these. Bored of the shirts, bored of the shirts. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. This one was a lot of 75 plus. I think it was 77 children's popular K through 3rd grade level homeschool books. I think these are Scholastic was the actual brand. Little thin little books. They almost look like pamphlets, like maybe 15, 20 pages each. Very, very light, very, very thin. There's a bunch of these though, and I picked these up for $4.99, I believe. It was $5.99. It could have been. At the same time that I picked up that Bible that I talked about earlier. These sold for $158.96, and I think it sold because it was a whole set, and like I said, 77 of these things all together. So went in a small box. I think it was an 8x8 box, and happy to see these go. And that was a huge score for $5.99, $58.96. $86 in shipping, and they went domestically. So that was a cool sale. Pick up lots of books. I'm trying to do that more, not just Potters, but anything. School-related stuff, especially because of people being homeschooled, and anything like related to helping people homeschooling, schooling, reading, anything that gets kids away from being online will sell fast. Anyway, next up, this is a Barbie doll that I picked up, I want to say a week and a half ago, not too long ago. It was a mermaid fantasy soft pink hair from 2002, so not quite vintage, but close to it. Sold for $160.08, including tax and shipping. I bought this one for $14.99, and the box was beaten up. It was like crushed, so like someone had sat on it or something. But when I looked up the solds, they were all overpriced. This one went overseas, I believe. Yeah, I can see the tracking number starts with an E there, and so this one went really fast in about a week or so. And if you see Barbie dolls, be careful if they're in packaging. At the thrift, sometimes they really overprice them just because they're the end of the year. They do like a Christmas one every year. Those don't always sell for crazy money, but sometimes they do. So look them up, double check the solds, and you never know. And my rule of thumb is if it's anything that's out of the ordinary, other than the standard Barbie doll, look for different ethnicities, different, like, July 4th, Christmas, even Thanksgiving. This one had some like a mermaid theme, something out of the ordinary than your regular Barbie doll. Look for that, because those are what people are looking for. Okay, let's skip a couple of these. All right, so next up, this is clothing, but it's clothing for an action figure. 1/6 scale black jumpsuit with knee pads. It literally looked like a water skiing jumpsuit. Had a zipper and everything. For a 12-inch action figure. Sold for $37.40. I've had this forever. I have tons of this I still need to list. This was generic. I don't know what the brand was, but it would be for like your 12-inch action, for like the 12-inch 90s G.I. Joe figures, that type of thing. Pick these up if you get them for dirt cheap. They will sit forever, but the right buyer who's looking to kit bash or create a diorama for their action figure scene or their doll scene, whatever it is, they want the specific item that matches their specific theme. So this one, I'm guessing maybe a scuba theme, water theme, diving theme, something like that, whatever. That's why they picked this up. It will not sell fast, but it will sell. But obviously, like if it's a GI, like actually has the the Hasbro brand, or if it has a Mattel brand, or has a specific character that comes with it, like it goes with a James Bond figure, then you can list that in your title. But if you don't know, like I didn't know anything about this one, I expect to sit on it. I hate to tell people just because I bought it for pennies and sold for $37.40 that you're going to sell it tomorrow. You won't. This one, I don't even know how many years I had this one, probably 2 years. But anyways, all right, next up, another thing that sits, I've been to more of these. This is a vintage belt buckle. Viscayu Fur Trapper Rifles American Pewter Belt Buckle from 1904. Sold for $55.86, including tax and shipping. Another one that that sat for a while. Not how long exactly, but a while. So belt buckles, and I saw somebody post on Instagram this the other day. It is a gamble because they literally will sell, and you'll have multiple belt buckles. Some of them will look cooler than others, but for whatever reason, those other ones won't sell. It might be because of saturation. It might be because of who knows what. So belt buckles are great. They're light. They're easy to ship, easy to store, but they will sit. So buy them for cheap and expect to wait to get a sale. All right, let's see what else. Let's skip through a couple of these, and then we'll be done. So this is another, but it's kind of a cool one. This doesn't have anything to do with graphic arts, to do with like skateboarding, hip hop, and like graffiti artists. This one, it said DNX Phoenix was the brand. I had never heard of that, but I like the logo on the front. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's kind of got this baggy pants looking cartoonish figure, and I'm not sure if he has a spray can, because I have another one that's similar. He has like a spray can in his hand, and he's like doing graffiti on a wall or something like that. I pick up these for cheap. especially if the material is good. Like this one is almost like a sweater t-shirt, and this one's another one that will sold for $30.81. I have like 5 of these. This is the first one that sold. So I just kind of like the theme behind it, and I sell a lot of stuff with that kind of graphic artist theme, not graphic art, like graffiti artist, excuse me, theme. But anyways, pick that up if you're, again, okay sitting on it for a little bit. All right, let's move away from clothing again. This is a set of vintage pin back buttons, pins from the, I don't know, 60s, 70s, 80s. It was a bunch of them. It says here 38 plus. Yeah, it was about 40 or so pins. Random things, nothing fancy, like insurance pins, I think maybe Girl Scout, Boy Scout pins, that kind of stuff. Nothing that I found particularly to stand out so I could list them individually. So I just lotted them up. I have 2 or 3 of these lots. This is the last one. I've got this for $4.99, excuse me, and probably last summer, so it sat for a while. Sold for $24.16, including tax and shipping. It wasn't that heavy. It was about a pound, I believe. Like I said, it sat for a while. So with pins and badges and this type of thing, I've been picking up more and more, but I get them for dirt cheap. Like I said, this was 38 plus. I got them for $4.99. So you can do the math there. But like I said, with this one, I had to lot it up individually. This would never sold, at least to my knowledge. My knowledge is that good when it comes to pins. All right, just a couple more here. This one was a core action figure. It's by Leonard, which is a similar looking brand to G.I. Joe, the 3 3/4 inch figures. This was a 1990 figure, sold for $19.99, including tax and shipping. It was one that sat for a while. In that same lot that I bought, that I mentioned the other figure, for a while when G.I. Joe wasn't putting out action figures, I would say the early 2000s, Leonard, which was actually the preeminent brand when it came to kind of action military type action figures. For a while, I believe G.I. Joe didn't start producing it until 2007. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments there if you're interested in doing that. But for a while, so Leonard, just so you know, there are a couple other brands. I might do a video on it too. They do sell decent. By decent, you can see the price difference here. $19.27, including tax and shipping. So you're not gonna sell this for like $1,000 or anything like that, even if it was sealed and new. But I like to pick them up. This one was about $1, and it sat for a while. But good pickup, good sale for me. Bread and butter. All right, this next one I've had for over a year, but happy to see it go. It was a vintage Barbie as a fashion carrying case. It was completely empty, no dolls, no accessories included. And it sold for $80.44, including tax and shipping. A lot of the price was tax and shipping, probably about half actually. But pretty light, a bigger item. It was a relatively big box, but I like picking up vintage buff. And this one was from 1985. And excuse me, this one was one, like I said, that sat for a while. But with the right buyer for this kind of stuff, they will buy it. And I usually don't get returns with this kind of stuff because once they know what they're looking for, they buy it and they keep it. All right, a few more of these. What do we have left here that's not clothing? Okay, this is another figure. The reason I'm pointing this out, this is nothing. You'll see these kind of 11.5, 12-inch figures on the shelves of thrift store time. Some of them are worth money, some of them are not. It will take you a little bit of time. You're gonna have to go through these. This one was Hawkeye from Marvel Avengers, Titan Hero. These figures are light. They are plasticky, kind of a cheap plastic looking thing. This one sold for $20.98. I had $2.99 into this. I usually pick them up for 99 cents to $2.99, nothing more than that, because they will sit. I think I talked about this before. Generally, you'll see a lot of like Spider-Man, Iron Man. I avoid those. They're too common, and especially because these figures are built for younger kids, like 3 to 5-year-olds, toddlers. They're not built. They're not the more articulated like Marvel figures that you see out out in the market worth a lot more. So, but for 20, I'm happy to get $20 out of this one. This one was a slightly rarer item, not really super, but so if you see this type of figure, don't discount the 11.5, 12-inch Marvel DC action figures. Looked super kitty because some of them they didn't make as much of. So like anything else, scarcity causes the price to go up. So double check that. All right, let's skip some of these. All right, one last shirt. I'll throw in this shirt only because I thought it was kind of cool. I'm a soccer fan, so this one's a 2018 FIFA World Cup T-shirt. The tag was in Russian, so I thought it was kind of cool. I didn't actually put in the title, but I had it in the description, and it was new with tags. I picked this up for 99 cents. It sold for $22.44. It's not vintage, obviously, because it's from 2018, just the past World Cup. But anything from in a foreign language, from a foreign country, that maybe not as something you can find quite easily here in the U.S., pick that up. Obviously, a shirt in Russian, generally this shirt would have been produced here, the same thing, but it would have been in English, obviously. So you never know. I took a gamble, and I think it was 99 cents into $22.40. I'll take that all day long. All right, I'm boring you now. So this is the last one for today. I like selling play sets, but I'm a little hesitant to pick them up too much. So I want to preface this before talking about this one. This was a Disney Lion King Defend the Pride Lands playset from 2015. Sold for $30.85, $2.99 into this. Not complete. It's a bigger item. I think about 18 inches by 16 inches. Not very heavy, maybe 2 pounds. But do take that into consideration if you pick up playsets. I like picking up playsets, but only ones that sell for at least $25, $35, $45 at the minimum. And if this one was I've had some that are twice as big as this. Those I only picked up because they're worth 90, 100, maybe 150. Just because it's newer, like this is 2015, doesn't. You've got to double check the scarcity of the item, just like that last item I just talked about. Because anything to do with Lion King, generally in my book, does pretty well. This is a repro. This is not the 1990s action, but there aren't that many of these out there. $30.85, and this one luckily went within the state, so my shipping cut bad. I've really pulled back though, just so you know, I'm picking up play sets only because of what I've seen is people, a lot of them coming looking to pay for this and looking to cut the shipping costs. So I have done a good job about picking up items that only sell, like I said, $30, $50, $100 if possible, especially if they're bigger because of the shipping cost. They are light, but like I said, just double check how many of them listed. There are 10 listed, nothing is sold this month, and that's a big indicator. Maybe this is not the item you want to pick up. This one sold pretty fast, actually. I only picked this up about 2 months ago, which is a fast sell for playsets. So if you have the room, pick them up and be careful. So anyways, that was it for this week. Hopefully I will be back next week with another one. I'm going to do some more videos on specific items like playsets, like vintage board games, and some other things maybe. If you do like these videos, please check out our previous What Sold videos. Also, in the mornings, I know I've skipped a few recently, but myself and my buddy Leroy from Blood, Sweat, and Sell do a just list listing hour. We go Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we're going to be doing them on my channel and on his channel. So I'm going to list those links below if you'd like to join us and list and get some work done. But until the next one, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Reseller Niche Podcast. Show notes and social media links are located at resellerniche.com. Please comment, rate, and subscribe to us on iTunes or YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.